My family left me at a gas station as a joke. 12 years later, they showed up at my restaurant, right as the news exposed their crimes to the whole city. The minivan's tires screeched as it pulled away, leaving me standing at pump number 3 with the gas nozzle still in my hand. My father's laughter echoed through the open window as he deliberately floored the accelerator, kicking up gravel that stung my bare arms. In the back seat, my older sister Emily pressed both hands against the glass, her mouth forming exaggerated words. "Run home, loser." The attendant inside the gas station convenience store watched with raised eyebrows as I slowly returned the nozzle to its cradle. My breath came in visible puffs. November in rural Pennsylvania wasn't kind to teenagers wearing nothing but a t-shirt and jeans. I patted my pockets instinctively, already knowing what I'd find: empty. My phone, my wallet, even my damn jacket were still in that van. "Your folks coming back for you, kid?" the cashier asked when I walked inside, his voice muffled through the bulletproof glass partition. I shook my head, not trusting my voice. This wasn't the first lesson my family had taught me this month. Just last week, they'd forgotten to pick me up from soccer practice, leaving me to walk 6 miles home in the rain. The week before that, my father had locked me out of the house overnight to toughen me up. Through the store's dirty windows, I watched the minivan disappear over the hill. Something inside me, some final thread of hope that maybe this time they'd actually come back, snapped with an almost physical sensation. The cashier slid a battered cordless phone through the transaction slot. "You need to call someone?" I stared at the phone for a long moment before pushing it back. "No," I said quietly. "I don't think I do." Turning on my heel, I walked out the back door of the gas station instead of the front. Behind the building, a rusted chain-link fence separated the property from dense woods. Without looking back, I hopped the fence and disappeared into the trees. I was 14 years old. The woods swallowed me whole. Branches clawed at my arms as I stumbled through the darkness, my sneakers sinking into cold mud. I counted my steps to keep from panicking, 100, 200, until the glow of the gas station disappeared completely. Then the rain started. By midnight, I was shivering violently under a highway overpass, watching semis roar past. One slowed, then reversed. The driver's window rolled down, revealing a grizzled face under a John Deere cap. "Jesus Christ, kid. You tryin' to die?" When I didn't answer, he sighed and popped the passenger door. "Get in before you freeze." The cab smelled like coffee and diesel. He tossed me a blanket and didn't ask questions as I devoured the lukewarm cheeseburger he offered. Only when we crossed the state line into Ohio did he finally speak. "Where to?" I stared at the rain-streaked windshield. "Anywhere but here." He nodded like he understood. "Denver's nice this time of year." As the heater blasted my numb fingers, the truck's CB radio crackled to life. "Missing juvenile out of Warren County, Pennsylvania. Parents say he wandered off during a bathroom stop." My breath caught. "Last seen wearing blue jeans, gray t-shirt." The driver glanced at me. At my clothes. At the fresh scratches on my arms. With one calloused finger, he turned the radio off. "Like I said," he muttered, shifting gears. "Denver's nice." Denver's bus station reeked of urine and stale pretzels. I spent my last dollar on a newspaper, and found myself staring at my own face on page 6. Local teen still missing after week-long search. The article quoted my father, "We're heartbroken. He just wandered off during our family road trip." My mother, dabbing her eyes in the accompanying photo, "Please, if anyone sees our boy." But 3 details destroyed their narrative. 1. They claimed I disappeared from a rest stop, not the gas station. 2. The search photo showed Emily wearing the same clothes as abandonment day. 3. Buried in paragraph 8, police note the family waited 36 hours to report him missing. The trucker, Ray, snorted when he saw me reading it. "They ain't looking for you, kid." He was right. Because when I called the tip line anonymously, giving exact details of what really happened, the officer sighed. "Look, son. Your parents showed us home videos of you, having episodes. We all think you're confused." Click. That night, I tore the article into strips and started planning. The Sunrise Diner hired me as a dishwasher because I looked desperate enough to work for scraps. For 3 months, I slept in the storage closet until the owner, a chain-smoking widow named Dottie, caught me and threw a cot in there instead. You scrubbed those pans like a man with something to prove, she rasped one night, watching me attack a burnt omelet pan. I like that. By week 6, she taught me to flip pancakes. By month 4, I was running the graveyard shift. The night crowd, cops, hookers, and insomniacs, became my new family. One regular, a grizzled Vietnam vet named Sully, noticed me studying the missing posters still taped to the diner's window. "That you, kid?" He tapped my newspaper photo. When I didn't answer, he slid a battered briefcase across the counter. Inside, a laminator, blank IDs, and a stack of social security cards. $200 and I'll make you disappear for real. I saved for 6 weeks. The day I handed Sully the cash, he grinned through rotten teeth. "Congratulations, Michael Carter." My new birth certificate gleamed in his hands. Born right here in Denver. Parents deceased. No living relatives. That night, I burned my old life in Dottie's grease trap. The flames smelled like freedom. The scholarship committee never questioned my forged transcripts. Why would they? Michael Carter had straight A's from a Denver high school that conveniently burned down last year. My culinary arts professor called me the most promising student in a generation. The local paper did a feature when I won the regional cooking competition. My face splashed across the food section with the headline, "Orphan Chef Rises from Nothing." That's when the first letter arrived. Postmarked from my hometown. No return address. Just 5 words in familiar slanted handwriting. "We saw the newspaper. I burned it over my apartment stove. But 2 weeks later, as I prepped for my first TV cooking demo, the studio receptionist called, "Your sister is here." Emily stood in the green room wearing designer jeans and my mother's pearls. "Mom cried when she saw your picture," she said, reaching for my arm. "We've missed you so." I stepped back, knocking over a tray of ingredients. "Funny," I said, voice steady. "The gas station attendant said nobody came looking." Her smile faltered. "That's not." "Tell me," I interrupted, "did you enjoy your ice cream after you left me? 4 Sundays, right? Not 5. The color drained from her face. The stage manager chose that moment to burst in, "We're live in 5, Chef Carter." I smiled as Emily recoiled from my new name. "You should stay," I said, adjusting my chef's coat. "I'm making your favorite, flambé." The IRS audit notice arrived at my father's office on a Monday morning. By Wednesday, 3 sheriff's deputies walked him out of the accounting firm he'd owned for 20 years in handcuffs. The local news played the footage on loop, his face pale under the flashing lights, his tailored suit jacket draped over his wrists to hide the cuffs. Prominent CPA charged with $1.2 million tax fraud. I watched it all from the kitchen of my new restaurant, where my staff had gathered around the small TV we kept for news breaks. One of my line cooks whistled low. "Damn. That dude looks familiar." I didn't react. Just kept prepping the evening special, a seared duck breast with cherry reduction. Emily's favorite. The real masterpiece, though, was the anonymous tip I'd sent to the IRS investigator 6 months prior. Complete with scanned copies of my father's special ledger, the one he'd always kept locked in his home office safe. The same ledger I'd photographed page by page at age 13, back when he still trusted me to bring him his Sunday scotch. The news station cut to a press conference outside the courthouse. My mother stood at the podium, her face drawn. "This is a misunderstanding. My husband is an honest man." Then the screen flickered. For 3 glorious seconds, before the technicians could cut the feed, the entire city saw different footage. My father at last year's golf club Christmas party, bragging to his buddies about writing off the Porsche as a business expense. The clip ended with him winking at the camera. What's the point of being an accountant if you can't cook the books? I turned back to my duck breast, smiling as the news anchors stammered through their apology. The cherry reduction bubbled violently, just like my father's temper when he realized someone had betrayed him. The First Presbyterian Ladies Auxiliary Annual Charity Gala was the social event of my mother's calendar. For 12 years running, she chaired the fundraising committee, her photo perpetually gracing the society pages beside phrases like "pillar of the community" and "heart of gold." Which is why the church security footage was so damning. I'd paid the janitor $500 to install the camera after learning she stored the donation checks in the basement office every Thursday night. What it captured was better than I could have dreamed. Just take 20% from each envelope before recording the amounts, my mother instructed Emily, her Louboutins propped on the donated food bank boxes. God understands we have our own bills to pay. The video spread like wildfire after I uploaded it to the township Facebook group at 3 a.m. By sunrise, the pastor had resigned. 3 board members filed police reports. My mother's name trended on Twitter with #CasseroleCrook. The real masterpiece? Using her own vanity against her. That tiny Gucci purse she always carried, the one she patted so smugly while leaving me at the gas station, was clearly visible in the footage, stuffed with stolen checks. When a reporter asked for comment outside her home, she threw a porcelain vase at the camera. The clip went viral with the caption, "Charity begins at home, but apparently ends there too." Emily's wedding to the mayor's son was supposed to cement our family's social comeback. 500 guests. Open bar. A 12-tier cake. I knew because I'd catered it. Under my new alias, of course. The moment the string quartet began Pachelbel's canon, the church speakers erupted with a very different recording. Just marry the idiot already. Once his dad approves the zoning change, we'll sell that worthless land for, Emily's voice echoed through the vaulted ceilings. Her fiancé froze mid-aisle. The audio, meticulously edited from months of tapped phone calls, continued. Relax, my father's voice now. The prenup's airtight. He'll get nothing when you divorce. The mayor stood so fast his pew toppled over. That's when the projector flickered to life, showing Emily's secret Vegas wedding to her college boyfriend last summer. The same man currently weeping in the back row. Chaos erupted. I slipped out the side door as the first champagne flute shattered against the altar. My final touch? The cake topper, a miniature gas pump with a figurine of 14-year-old me flipping them off. The visitation room at Rockview Penitentiary smelled like bleach and bad decisions. My father looked up from the scratched metal table, his orange jumpsuit hanging loose on shoulders that used to dominate every room. You. His voice was raw. I should have known. I slid the manila envelope across the table. Inside. 1. The original gas station security footage, time-stamped. 2. Their ice cream receipt for Sundays. 3. The police report where they claimed I'd wandered off. Statute of limitations ran out, he sneered. Not for conspiracy to abandon a minor, I said, tapping the newest document, a sworn statement from the gas station clerk who'd watched them drive away laughing. His hands shook as he reached for it. What do you want? Watch the news tonight. At 6 p.m., every local station broke the same story. Disgraced CPA linked to cold case missing child investigation. The footage showed my mother sobbing to detectives. It was just a prank. We were coming back. Then the camera panned to Emily's phone, left recording on the interrogation table, where her texts read, "Tell them nothing. That little bastard can't prove." The district attorney appeared next, announcing new charges. I toasted with Sully at the diner that night. "They're gonna realize you planned this whole thing," he muttered. I smiled. Who do you think leaked the interrogation footage? The envelope arrived on the anniversary of my abandonment. No return address. Just a single key taped to a photograph of our old house. Inside, Emily's scrawl. Mom's in rehab. Dad got 5 years. I'm working at a truck stop off I-80. You won. I framed the note behind the diner counter, right next to our new menu special. The family meal. $14.62, exact price of those 4 Sundays. Serves 4, not 5. No substitutions. The day the newspaper ran my feature, From Gas Station to Gourmet, the chef who redefined family, a haggard woman in a John Deere cap slid into my booth. Emily's once manicured nails were cracked. Her designer clothes replaced by a grease-stained uniform. Table for 1. I asked. She flinched at my voice. I just wanted to say. I placed a single sundae between us. 4 spoons. To go. As she stumbled out, Sully whistled. Cold, chef. I wiped down the booth, her untouched sundae melting into the checkered tablecloth. Outside, a minivan full of laughing teenagers sped past. I didn't look up.